Thinking outside your financial culture. What have you learned financially in the culture that you live in? We are heavily impacted and heavily influenced by, first and foremost, our family's points of view about money, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. Secondly, by the culture that we're basically like seeped in from childhood. Each culture on the earth has a different reality, a different point of view, a different way of functioning with money, from Switzerland to Mexico to Norway to Australia to Venezuela to Argentina. All of these countries have extremely different expressions of financial aptitude or financial ineptitude. It's like all of my Indian friends out there have a very specific financial reality. And learning to work with Indians was actually a massive learning curve for me because they have a very different point of view about money. And it's not necessarily the way in which you earn money or the way in which you spend money or the way in which money is created. It was more just a completely different attitude around money. And it was interesting for me going to India for the first time and really watching and seeing how much need there was and how that it was appropriate for there to be that much need. And people coming up to your car and like begging as though their lives depended on it for money. And coming from America and coming from California, I had never seen anything like that. And I was completely unprepared. I was like, but then you just get used to it and you realize that financial reality is socially acceptable there. And so where we accept our culture's financial point of view is where we start limiting the financial scope and possibility that we can have as individuals. We are alive in a very unique and exciting time in history. Never before in the history of humankind on this planet has it been possible to earn multiple currencies, to have bank accounts in multiple countries, to have a worldwide business that essentially functions with worldwide trade. So we are now discovering, even people who you wouldn't even say are necessarily in a big business, even just people on social media or YouTube are essentially in multinational businesses without even realizing, or just thinking that's potentially normal. If you go back 50 years, or even go back before the internet became like a really big thing, your business occurred on the ground and in the town that was around you. And so now we have this very unique and different opportunity to discover other financial cultures, other different financial points of view, and really essentially shop around for what financial culture works for us, if there even is a financial culture that works for you. I myself have picked and chosen from many different financial cultures. I have spent a ton of time in Singapore, in Switzerland, in Mexico, in America, in Australia, in Sweden. I'm trying to think where else I've really been influenced by this stuff. And I have spent a huge amount of time traveling and really getting to know these different cultures. It's like I married an Australian who is by birth a German. Before my Australian-German husband, I was dating a Swedish man. Before that, I've been really introduced to all of these different cultures financially and really looked at, okay, so like what is my financial reality? And if I don't have to think like an American, which by the way is a debt culture, all young Americans are encouraged to incur debt. America is a debt culture, and that is unique and specific to America. There are other debt cultures in the world, of course, but America is the #1 debt economy. Is debt your financial reality? Or are underground vaults full of gold your financial reality? Because both exist on this planet. And so it's like, will you question your financial culture? Look around at the culture around you, whether you are living in the country that you were born and raised, or you are living outside of the country and culture you were born and raised. And if you're living outside of the culture that you were born and raised, you know what I'm talking about. If you're living within the culture that you were born and raised, you might just take for granted or assume that the financial reality going on in your country is the only financial reality or the only possibility or just what is. And it isn't. There are so many different financial points of view around the world, and it's a possibility for each and every one of you that desires to expand your financial aptitude, to educate yourself financially, to learn about how other cultures function economically, financially. What's the essential point of view of the people? How does the government facilitate finances within the country? How are people allowed to own private property? Are people encouraged to have debt as a way of growing their economic wealth, which essentially is their economic debt? What is possible if you looked around in the world for all the different ways in which cultures handle money and picked and chose what worked for you? Thinking outside your financial culture makes you think bigger than most people and will invite more possibility financially.